Hello and welcome back to the Go-Stroid development series. In today's video we'll be focusing on menus, setting up our main menu, and of course setting up a pause menu. We'll also go through and get all of those kind of hooked up so we can use them immediately. Now menus are one of the most simple things in Godot, and yet at the same time they are so complex and convoluted and confusing and scary to approach, and it's a sticky point that I've noticed that a lot of people actually tend to run into. It can be a bit confusing sometimes. Now we've already done a lot of UI stuff with like the UI container, the UI node, how we set up our level, but menus are a kind of completely different beast. So let's start. Let's first make a new scene, and it will be of type user interface. Now I'm going to immediately rename this to the main menu. So main menu. I'm going to hit Control S or Command S and save, go to Scenes, create a new folder, and I'm just going to call this folder Menu. So this will be containing all of our menu stuff. And now, so we have this control node, and it is full rect, and it's hooked to the full rect. Perfect, right? What we need to do from here is actually start adding some things to it. Like, okay, what does a main menu have? Well, it has a background, right? Now, we could use a sprite 2D, but that will cause some issues. So what we're going to do instead is use what's known as a texture rect. So I'm going to use Control A or Command A to add. I'm going to write in texture, and we'll get a texture rect here, a control that displays a texture. So this is another green type node that goes within a green type node, and this is for the texture rect, and this will contain our texture or our background. So let's go and add a background to this, right? Let's go up into the texture here. So we click on texture rect, go to the texture, go to load. We'll go into assets. Let's go into backgrounds, and let's do the light. Actually, let's do the dark purple. Now, we ran into the same issue when we created our level, that this is kind of stretched and it's not right. The way we fix that is by going into the stretch mode and then changing it to tile. Now that looks the exact same as our actual background in our main scene. So go click on it, have a look. So main scene, main level, main menu. So it's all the exact same. I can actually open these up and you can see here that the scenes are now the exact same. Level 1 is just a texture rect, and level 2, well not level 2, the main menu is also just a texture rect. I'm going to rename texture rect to background. I'm going to hit Control S and save. And now what we're going to do is add what's known as a margin container. So let's use Control A and add. We'll add a margin container. Margin containers are kind of what they say on the tin. They will kind of add padding around the edges of a screen, which means anything that goes inside of the margin container will conform to that padding. So the first thing we do, and we always make sure to check this, when we are designing things like main menus or UI, we always want to make sure that massive containers like the margin container, like the actual control node itself, are set to full rect. So we go up to anchor presets, and we set that to full rect. So now inside of the margin container, I want to use Control A or Command A and add. We are going to add a V box or a vertical box container, a container that arranges its child controls vertically. So basically it's going to give us a list, which is perfect. We actually really want a list for this, right? We're going to want a title at the top, the play button, the pause button, and the play button, the high scores button, the exit button. So let's actually just go and add those, right? Let's just go to the VBox container. It's already at full rect. Let's use Control A. We'll add a label for the title. I'm going to rename it to the menu title. And then to the VBox container again, we'll add one button. And then I'm going to duplicate that button 2 more times. So I'm going to use Control or Command D and D. So we now have 3 buttons and a label. But as you can see, they're all kind of squished to the top. Now, this is where things start to get a bit confusing for quite a few people. So the first thing I want to do here is I want to go to the margin container, and I want to adjust the general padding. Now to do that, I go margin container, theme overrides, constants, and here is the margin padding. Now, I already went through and just kind of got a general good feel for how I want this menu to be. So I'm going to use the settings that I came up with. Feel free to use them or tweak them to your own accord. But the padding I want will be 24, 24, 24, and 24. As you can see, it's already pushed it away from the top and it's pulled them in a little bit. Perfect. Next thing we want to do is let's go to our menu title here. Let's just add our title. So we'll just call this Go-Stroid. little exclamation mark. And I don't want it to be pushed to the far left, so I'm going to come down into the horizontal and vertical alignments here. And for the horizontal alignment, I'm going to hit the center. So that is now centered and perfect. The next thing I'm actually going to do here, and now there are many ways to get these buttons to be like at the bottom or centered or, you know, kind of along those lines. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down on the menu title. I'm going to go to layout, container sizing, and then where you see this vertical here, this is basically how it is filling the vertical. Is it shrinking to the center, the beginning, or the end, or is it fill? Now, if I shrink to end, it does nothing. If I do fill, it does nothing. The reason for that is because of how our VBox container is currently set. It is currently aligned to the beginning, so the very top. Now, if I set this to the end, then I go back to the main menu, and then I click the expand button, you'll see it's pushed our title to the top and squished our buttons here at the bottom. So we now have a somewhat centered layout. That's getting there, right? It's getting there. It's not exactly what we want. All right, let's go and add some words to these buttons real quick. So the first button I'm going to rename to the start button. So let's call that start. And in the text box for it, we will write start game with a little exclamation mark. Let's go button 2. Button 2 will be the high scores. So I'm going to write high score, and then in the text, I'm going to write high score. And then finally, button 3, which is going to be our quit game button. I'm going to write quit game. And for button 3, I'm going to write quit game. So we've now got our buttons. If I go up to the top here and I click run current scene, it will run the main menu. Now, this is what our menu currently looks like. Now, it's not as good as I would like it to be. It's all still a bit squished, and, you know, we still got to do some messing. So let's do some messing. Let's go to the VBox container, go to theme overrides, constants, and adjust the separation. Let's adjust the separation to, let's say, 32 for now. So they are separated, it's fair. Let's now adjust the sizing of all of our texts to make them all fit together well. Now, a really fun thing you can do is, so buttons contain a label inside of them, right? That's how we can kind of adjust the text here. So what we can do is we can click on the menu title, so the label, then we can shift click on the very bottom button, so we highlight everything. And now we can change the theme overrides font sizes, and we can change the font size. So let's go and change this to 32. See, now that's nice, big, bold, and fun to look at. It's a little bit better. Next thing I want to change is the start, the high score, and the quit game buttons are too long for my liking, so I'm going to do the same thing where I highlight the start and the quit and use shift click to highlight all of them. I'm going to come down to layout, container sizing, and in the vertical here it says fill. I don't want to fill that. Oh, sorry, in the horizontal here it says fill. I don't want to fill that. But as you can see, now it's kind of all squished to the left, right? Let's shrink to center. There we go. So now it's going to shrink to the center. So the new issue here is they are all not of the same shape. So let's go and fix that as well. Easy way of fixing this is to highlight all the buttons. We go back down to layout and we go custom minimum size. So the X direction, so the left and right, the horizontal direction is where we need to set a good custom minimum size. Let's just do 64. So nothing changed, right? Okay, let's do 124. There we go. Apparently I'm just not using a large enough custom minimum size. So let's change the custom minimum size to, let's say, 320. 320 seems to fit well. Let's hit the run current scene button again, and this is our main menu. It's now looking a little bit better. I would like to bump the title down from the top a little bit more, so I can go to the margin container, constants, theme override, or theme overrides constants, and go to the top margin. Let's change this to 38. Let's go 42. 58. Okay, yeah, no, 42. We'll stick with 42. 42 seems a bit better, and we'll do the same in the bottom with a 32. There we go. That makes things just a little bit cleaner. So now we have our title and our buttons. Now the issue is I like the title to be just a little bit bigger, like text-wise, than the button text. So let's go to the menu title. Let's come back down to the theme overrides, constants, font sizes, and we'll change this to 64. make it all nice and really big. Now that's great, but I still don't think it's popping enough. So let's go into the constants in theme overrides, and you'll see here that there is a outline here, an outline size. Let's go and change that to 4. Now it's added a white outline around our title here. I don't like the white outline, so let's go to colors, font outline color, tick that, and now it's black. So let's go and change this to 6. I, of course, as usual, always forget to turn off my Discord. There we go. Let's go and hit the start scene button, and now that is popping a little bit more. I like that. So that is the main menu ready to go. So what do we do now? Well, let's actually start adding a script to it, yeah? Let's go main menu, add script, create. We don't need any of the ready or the functions here for process. We do need to give it a class underscore name of main menu. And the main menu is going to be really, really simple. We're going to need an exported variable for the main underscore game underscore packed underscore scene of type packed scene. And we can set that equal to null because it's an export variable. So what we can do here is we can hit Control S or Command S and save, go and click on the main menu, and we'll see here we get the main game packed scene. We'll go click load, go under scenes, go into main, and that is our main level. So that is when our game actually starts, which means we actually need to hook up our buttons. So we're going to do this a really simple way. We're going to click on the start button, go to node, and base button down for the signal. We're going to connect that button. We'll do it for the high score button as well. And we'll do it for the quit game button. So we'll do the quit game button first because it's the easiest one to do. How do we quit the game? Well, Godot actually has you covered there. It's extremely simple. All we have to do is use get underscore tree dot quit. And that's it. Now, if I run the scene again with this current script enabled, and then I go down and press quit, it now exits the game. Perfect. We have a quit game button. We can now leave the game. We're no longer trapped there forever. So that means we now just need to change the scene from the main menu scene to the game scene, right? So let's go and sort that out. Once again, Godot has you covered. It's really good with these little settings. So let's go and use get underscore tree. So every time we want to access a tree related function, in this instance, we want to access a change scene function. So we want to use get tree to do that. Then we want to use, well, as it says there, change scene to packed. We are doing packed because we have a packed scene up here. And then we just pass through the main game packed scene. Hit Control S and save. Now, if I run this scene and I hit start game, it starts our game. It puts us straight into the game and we are ready to go. But now we can't exit or leave. For now, high score button we won't mess with. We'll mess with that in a later episode. But since we cannot leave the main game now, we need to go and figure out a pause menu so we can actually come back to the main menu or quit the game. So once again, we'll go through the same process. Let's click the add scene button. It'll be of user interface or control type node. We will call this the pause menu. Now I just need to add the pause menu or create the pause menu. Now this is, I usually have these marked down. The one thing I don't have marked down is the pause menu because, hey, doing it off the top of your head is actually usually a pretty good idea to keep yourself learning. So let's go and add, so Control A will add a margin container. Actually, no, let's go and add what's known as a panel. Now, a panel is just a place to stick things on. So if I full rect this, you'll see that it's a kind of black, semi-transparent background. So that gives us a bit more of a visibility that we've paused the game, right? When the menu pops up, everything will fade out a little bit, everything will go black, and this is an easy way of doing it. So let's click on the root again. So click on the pause menu, use Control A. We'll add our margin container. Let's full rect the margin container. Then inside the margin container, we'll grab a vertical or a VBox. Let's go and add a padding. Theme overrides constants. We'll do 24, 24, 24, 24. My relatively simple padding that I always like to stick to. In the VBox container, we want a title, so we're going to want a label. And then, of course, we are going to want 2 buttons. So we'll just instantiate 2 more buttons here. So button 1, button 2. The label will be the title. Button 1 we'll call the continue button. continue. Oh no, I've forgotten how to spell the word continue. Let's restart that. Continue. I think that's how you spell continue. I don't know. My brain has stopped working now. So for the final button, we're just going to use quit. We'll call it quit to main menu. And let's go and type those into the text. For quit to main menu, we will just write quit to menu. And for continue, we will just write continue. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, I spelled that correctly. So for the title, I'm just going to write the words paused. Once again, I want to center the text. So let's go to the horizontal and center that up. Let's go for the... Actually, let's go and set the theme overrides, the font size for the title to 64. And then let's set the theme override constant fonts to 32 for the continue and the quit to main menu button. So remember, left click and then shift click on the other one. Theme overrides, font sizes, let's go 24. No, let's go 32. There we go. Now, VBox container, we'll go and change the alignment down to end. We'll grab the title. We will make sure on the layout that in the container sizing is using fill in the vertical. We'll click expand. And now for the VBox container itself, we'll add a theme override constant separation. Let's do 24. Let's do a little bit more than 24. Let's go 32. Oh yeah, I forgot to save this. We'll save this in a second. Let's go back to the margin container and let's grab the top and bottom. Actually, no, the top's fine. Let's grab the bottom margin and let's bump that up to 42. Yeah, see, this is a menu that I'm okay having these stretched bars on, so I'm actually going to keep the stretched bars. Yeah, so let's hit Control S and we'll save this, or Command S, and we'll save this into the menu folder. So we'll click Save. Now let's go and add a script to it. So once again, we don't need the ready or function or physics process function or the process function. We'll create a class name and we'll just call this the pause menu. And we can go and connect up both of our buttons. So button down for continue and button down for quit to main menu. So on button down for continue, what do we want to do? Well, we actually just want to queue free this scene. But before that, we are going to do something simple, right? We'll just queue free this for now. We'll leave it at this and I'll kind of explain it as I go into something else. On the quit to main menu button, we are going to want to get underscore tree, and then use dot. So I used change scene to packed. That works. We could also do change scene to file, and we can pass through the string value for our main menu scene. So let's just write in main. Oh, no, that doesn't want me to do that anymore. Okay. So if that breaks for you, a thing that you can do here is go into file system, type in main menu, and then you can left click and you can drag the main menu.tscn into the parentheses like so, and it creates a path for you. So if I hit Control S and save and I run this scene, I go and hit quit to main menu, it will now quit to the main menu. Perfect. So now we have to move into this menu, right? So to do that, I'm actually going to go to the main scene that we have our entire game in. I'm going to finally give it a script. I'm going to go and give this a class underscore name of main game. And for the main script here, we are going to need a exported variable for our pause menu. So we'll go export var pause underscore menu underscore packed underscore scene of type packed scene. Set that equal to null. And then we're going to want to get an onReady variable for our UI container here. Why? Because this contains our, or will contain our pause menu as well. So let's go and use Control drag drop for that. We will typeset it or typecast it as a canvas layer. Canvas layer. That's what it's called, canvas layer. So now we just need to figure out how to handle input, right? So there is a thing or a function known as unhandled input or unhandled key input. Basically, if input is being or is happening and there is nothing actually grabbing that input, so for a good instance here is when we are using movement, we are using WASD, that is handled input. We are handling that input. Whereas for unhandled input, so if we press 1, 2, 3, 4, escape, quit, whatever, not quit, but escape, that's unhandled. So nothing is actually handling that. So what we can do here is we can go func underscore unhandled input, specifically unhandled key input. I'm going to add the void return type to this just out of a clean thing. And then I'm going to write pass. So this is a predefined function that allows us to handle input on any node without a process function, without a ready function. In fact, this should technically be how we should be handling our movement as well, because this gets handled when a button gets pressed. So let's go into project settings, because we finally need to add a key for pausing the game. So let's go into our input map. Let's go add new action. We will write pause. Let's hit the plus sign. I will put escape as my pause button. So close. Now I can go if event dot is underscore action, and then I can check if it is the pause action. I can then start doing something. Well, what do I want to start doing here? Well, I'm going to first go and instantiate that pause menu scene. So I'm going to create a new underscore paused underscore pause underscore menu of type pause menu. We'll set that equal to the pause menu pack scene dot instantiate. Okay, grand. So what else do we want to do? Well, simply put, we can just go to the UI container, we can use .add child, and we can add the new pause menu as a child. So if I hit Control S and save, and I hit play and we play our game, it's going to crash if I press escape. Why? Because I didn't add the pause menu packed scene. So let's go and do that. Scenes, menu, pause menu, hit Control S to save or Command S to save. Let's hit play. Whilst we're on our game, let's hit play, and it works. But as you can see, 1, nothing is clickable, and 2, everything is still functioning and spooky. So let's go and fix this. The first thing I want to do here is when we instantiate the scene, I want to go into the pause menu and I want to actually grab the func underscore ready. And I want to use get underscore tree dot paused. So this is how we pause the game in Godot. We just use the dot pause and we set that equal to true. So now the game will be paused. So let's go and test that. Let's go play into the game, hit escape, and it is now paused. But now there are 2 things with this. 1, our menu wasn't being toggled, and 2, the paused menu is also paused, so it's not actually doing anything. Let's fix the pause menu being paused first. Let's go to pause menu. Let's go scroll down to the process in the inspector, and then where it says mode inherit, we're actually going to change this to when paused. So this menu will only function when the tree is paused. Actually, let's not do when paused, let's just do always, because that saves us a little bit of a headache getting around certain things. So we'll just do mode always. So it will always process. This will always run regardless if the tree gets paused. So in this case, it's getting paused the second that this spawns. So that means we need to, on continue button down, actually get underscore tree, and then use dot paused and set that equal to false. At the same time, I'm going to hit Control C, we need to come down and we need to do that on the on quit to main menu button. That way everything gets unpaused and everything is good and running again. So let's hit play and hit escape, and as you can see, well, everything is still paused, but the menu is still not clickable. Now, I went through a whole thing trying to figure out why, and I knew this would bite me, past me, future me, every version of me knew this was going to bite me. If we go to the UI container here and we see the layer settings, I need to set that to 1, hit Control S, and the game will run fine. Everything still runs how it should, right? Now, if I hit pause, everything pauses, but the buttons now work. If I hit continue, wait a second. Continue is not doing what it should. Okay, so I've just had a very, very good giggle at myself because when I changed the process mode, I was apparently moving a wee bit too fast for my eyes to notice. I changed the process mode on the pause menu, right? No, I changed it on the quit to main menu button, so everything else is actually pausing other than that one button. So to fix that, let's go to the pause menu, the root node, go to process, and then click always. And now, if I hit play, right now it should print beans, which it's doing. And yes, if you're curious, in my spare time when I'm actually doing my own coding for private projects, I use dumb words to print, like beans. So let's once again go and get the continue button working. First, we get underscore tree dot paused. We set that equal to false, and then we queue-free. Now, what are we queue-freeing? Well, we can use self.queue-free here, but we're just going to use queue-free because that's the same thing. It's going to queue-free the pause node or pause menu. So let's hit play, hit escape, and everything is working. We now have a full game loop and the game works fine. But that is actively all I have to show you today, other than, actually, let's do this real quick. Let's go to our project settings, general, run. So right now, if we click the play button, we will run the main scene that we have, the main game. We want to actually start running it from the pause menu now. So to change that, we go general, run, main scene, click the file here. We'll come in from the menu, the main menu, hit close. And now every time I hit play, we will start from the start screen or the main menu. And that's it. Now I can quit to main menu, I can quit game, and as of right now, the one button we need to change is the high score menu. We also need to add a you died menu or game over menu or screen, and we will handle both of those things in the next couple of videos. Yes, so thank you for watching. That's all I have to show for you today. I hope you're having a great day and a great game dev journey, and I will see you in the next video.